So, Ian, I'm older than you. It doesn't make sense.
Time travel.
That's not how time works.
All right, well,
John Connor.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Gun Gamers podcast. This definitely wasn't just remembered about by me 15 minutes ago as I was awakening from a sleep-deprived stupor. Anyway, today we've got another wonderful podcast. Hopefully we can make this more of a regular thing. Again, we've got Kaylee, again we've got Eric, and now we've got a new face. We've got our buddy Matt, who, while he doesn't make nylon, big echo, what's the problem? Oh, dear.
Let me turn on the audio for the stream and see if I can hear it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm hearing like you sound a little echoey, I think. Mine's not as bad.
I'm going to close down. I'm going to shut down the API source just
Actually, I think
bit.
it's doubling our audio again.
Is it doubling our audio again? Okay.
Yeah.
It's sounding robotic. Oh, yeah, it is.
God damn it! I had this fixed!
You just had to mess it up, Ian.
You're so bad. Now the new start of this stream is everyone's seeing what terrible
audio we have. I know. God damn it. This is why ISIS is winning. Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Well, he's not wrong, so.
Yeah, I know I'm not wrong. It's just too terrible. Okay, well. Test. Oh, you know what? I know exactly what's the problem.
Ooh. Sounds fine now, I think.
Yeah, let me see.
Well, not really, actually. It's hard for me to tell.
Ian, you talk. That's really the teller.
Yeah, you're fine. On my end, at least.
All right, we're good, I think.
I fixed the muted problem. We're joined by Matt. We're joined by Kaylee. We're joined by Eric. So, Kaylee, you're just getting back from Desert Fox events, and you have some choice words. Would you like to get us started? Because I have actually never been to a DFE event.
Okay, so yeah, I just went to DFE this past weekend. It was the DFE Battle for Los Angeles, and I think it was their third time doing this event. Because I know I went to the one last year. I think that was the second one. But anyways, I mean, I have a lot of respect for Jet and Leah. I think they're great airsoft YouTubers and personalities and players, but I don't know. I had a really good time at the second DFE, or the first one that I went to, but this one, I think there was just a problem with how they did the signups for the teams, or I don't know what, but the teams just felt extremely unbalanced. I know for a fact that there were more people on TSS than there were on ERT, which automatically made it already unbalanced. And I did notice a trend. I don't know if this was on purpose or simply accidental, but it did seem like a lot of the other YouTube personalities were all on TSS. I don't know if this was like to have a certain kind of content be made or what, but it did seem kind of odd that like basically every YouTuber was on TSS, and it would have been nice if that was broken up a little bit more evenly so we could have a bit more balanced teams. Not saying that airsoft YouTubers are better players than, regular players, but I think there's something to say about the fact that, YouTubers do, I think, play more than the average player, since it's part of what they're trying to do. It's part of their job, I suppose. And they're trying to get out there and play as much as possible. So they do have, I think, a little bit more experience playing airsoft than most people. But yeah, it just would have been nice if the teams were a bit evened up. And then I did have some problems with the Blue Fox tracker. I don't know if people just weren't using it, or it just wasn't functioning properly for some people, but there did seem to be huge discrepancies between the ticket counts for both teams. So on the Blue Fox tracker, basically how Desert Fox Events works are just like any like kind of battlefield game. Like you have tickets, like whatever, like life tickets or whatever. So
Sure.
yeah, so depending on how many people mark themselves as wounded and then actually die and respawn, the tickets go down. And I think the tickets also get decreased by how many capture points you have, just like on Battlefield or something like that. Yeah. So um, I don't know if people just weren't using it, but when I would see the posting of like the end game scores or something, it would always be like 1,000 plus. Like I know for the first game, it was like we had 1,700 tickets, and TSS had 0. I don't know how this happened because the entire game we were pushed all the way back to our spawn, and we're just getting like completely destroyed. But somehow, like in the last hour after I walked off the field to rearm and chill, we somehow won the game. But then after that, we just got creamed for every single game after the first one. So
Okay.
Well, the biggest thing is really you don't lose many lives from people using the app to mark themselves hit because most people don't mark themselves hit in the app is kind of a problem that we've run into at a lot of these games because you're almost kind of disincentivized from doing it because if you mark yourself as hit but then you get medicked, there really is no good system right now because they've discontinued the use of the scan medic, it seems. Did they bring that back for your game?
no, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, it was. I think they still are using the. From what I remember, they're
Just the
still using
tourniquets.
the tourniquets, and then they had the like area of effect medic. So if the medic's like near you, it'll like, medic you back up.
Okay, that they didn't actually debut, I don't think.
Yeah.
When I was at the game this last summer, they actually didn't have an inbuilt app medic feature. They had one at the first game I went to in 2018. They had it where the medic would scan you and that would bring you back in or something like that. And it wasn't area of effect. So that it might actually be a new feature that they've implemented. Because the biggest issue I saw with the Blue Fox tracker was that when you got hit, when you could be buddy aided, you were disincentivized from using the app, and basically you were punished for using the app to mark yourself hit when you could be buddy aided because the buddy aid doesn't scan your app and bring you back in. So what that basically means is you can't capture points, and capturing the points is really what ends up mattering. And once someone just gets a majority, they just bleed points and they don't lose any more points from actually dying because most people aren't marking themselves hit in the app. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The
Go
app
ahead.
I thought was like very unique in that he's trying to integrate technology. There's a couple things I didn't even think in my brain to use like a QR code to basically scan as a medic. I thought that was pretty useful. I think maybe if they incorporated something like Eric was saying, a more smooth feature to medic somebody where there was time. But like you were saying, there was no advantage to using your phone because unless you have like the sweet juggernaut case or something like comes down off your chest rig or something like that, where you can kind of two-hand it, where you're like, sending a sweet text and shooting. Like there's no way for you to engage in the fight or the game, whatever you're trying to do, and then also help your buddy up. Like it doesn't take you out of the fight. It's not like my hands are tied behind my back, but you have to focus on what you're doing, and it's disadvantageous.
So I'm going to bring it back to ATAC for the millionth time because I fucking love ATAC, and I've taught both Matt and Kaylee the wonderful, wonderful beauties of ATAC. But the biggest limiting factor when it comes to any sort of phone-based technology on an airsoft field is data connection. Data connection and phone battery. And if you don't have a consistent connection to a source of data or GPS, or in the case of like various Blue Force tracking apps, like a mesh network, it's gonna be fucking useless. And unless you have a consistent consistent connection to data, it's gonna be pretty much crippling that entire aspect of the game. Where it's like, hey, cool, we've got this really, really neat little app. It allows us to do this navigation and all that kind of stuff, which I know that the Blue Fox tracker doesn't actually use like a actual piece of imagery. It's just like a static image, isn't it?
So the
it's
actual
kind of
field
updated.
itself is a static image, but what it does is it kind of tracks the location of people.
Right.
Yeah. But the biggest issue with it is the fact that most airsoft fields, at least that I've been to, generally don't have the best of data connections. So you're going to be inherently hamstringing yourself by forcing people to connect to some sort of data network.
Yeah. And there's a good point in the comments, like, if you don't have signal, like, nothing's really going to help you anyway, so...
Well, that's
Yeah.
Matt, so...
Yeah, that was me. That was also me just typing to somebody.
Yeah.
However, I think, wasn't that an issue they had at Shelby where they were like, we're looking into like basically renting a cell phone tower to like help kind of negate this issue?
I think the thing is finding a viable solution to that, like, that's a complicated issue to solve. So I can definitely understand how they've been talking about that for 2 years and haven't found anything yet. At EMR, it wasn't as big of a problem because data connection is pretty good at EMR. So
I had issues in the woods that we were playing around in on Sunday on the back half, but I mean we were in the sticks while that was happening, so I don't expect to get sweet connectivity while I have a canopy over me.
Yeah, and it also does depend on your carrier because like at Shelby, Verizon had plenty of signal. That wasn't a problem. But everyone else who didn't have Verizon was basically fucked. Someone's not going here.
Not me. I have headphones. I blame Ian.
Was
Always
that me?
Ian.
Sorry about that.
Did you fall asleep? Did you nod off real quick?
No, I've had my eyes open this entire time.
You're asleep at the wheel, Ian.
Yeah, dude. Jesus, take the wheel. Goodness gracious.
My first Desert Fox event was the one that Eric is talking about at EMR this past. I think it was July. God, it was a hot July. You're a hero. You're a hero. You're a man's man, Eric. More than I'll ever be. But
well, vodka is very good for hydrating.
That's what they tell me.
And Jameson is good for your eyes.
Oh. I thought, I'm not a smart man, I was quite dumb. There was so what did they run? 3 games on Saturday, not including the night game.
There were 3 games Saturday and then 1 game on Sunday.
So
I think it was 3 total, though. I think it
might have been 2 the night.
It was
game,
2. It was morning, afternoon, and then night, and then Sunday morning.
Yeah, that's typically how it is.
Yeah. So to circle back to I'm not a smart man. So here's Josh Warren on stage, basically getting ready to belittle you, tell you that it's so simple that a child can do it. He's like, all you got to do is scan the right code. To my left is Southern Syndicate. To my right is the Royal Trading Company. Scan the appropriate one, guys. And here's me standing next to Eric like, hey, can you medic me? And then he looks over and I was like, this is weird. Everybody's red. Aren't we blue? Like, look at my arm. Look at the screen. Well, I scanned into the wrong team, Eric. Well, do you want to know where everyone is? I guess I'm just going to put my phone away. Like, like we were talking about, the app, I think, is so, it's ahead of its time, It's like, what's the word? Laserdisc. It's Betamax. Like, it's this cool thing that the world's just not ready for, that I think if we almost made more dumb and streamlined a little more, it would have a much better place in the Airsoft game event.
Biggest advantage that its function adds right now is just the ability to monitor objectives. Like that to me is the biggest thing. I almost wonder though if the Battlefield style ticket system doesn't make as much sense as initially thought, and maybe it should just be a timer.
I think it should be, because realistically, when we look, we stayed on the field for approximately the entire engagement, whatever half we were playing. Like, it conveniently seemed that the halves didn't end early. Like, there wasn't suddenly, like, even though we got steamrolled basically for the majority of Saturday and Sunday.
We won the night game.
We did win the night game, right?
So we don't even have the excuse of being outnumbered for losing. We were actually perfectly evenly matched, but unfortunately, a lot of Southern Syndicate didn't realize how hot it was going to be, I guess.
Oh, that was true. They didn't hydrate
drink nearly enough water. Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. Water, definitely water.
Yeah, water was definitely a problem.
But what was I saying? God, I told you I'm not a smart man. Very absent-minded these days. Oh, it'll come to me.
Yeah, but so I am wondering if the app keeping track of like player deaths and lives almost disincentivizes app use, and does kind of make for where the real functionality of it is kind of lost almost, or kind of buried.
I thought I didn't know that there was a medic function, or at one time either in the past or presently, whether or not there was a medic function for the app. But when you started talking about that, I think it might be interesting if they had like a QR code tourniquet and everyone was given one. So like if the designated medic were like to scan somebody on the app, it could automatically set a timer like, hey, when this code is scanned, you have to wait 30 seconds. So that way I don't have to touch Eric.
Well, that was the original thing for the original medic system, was you had a QR code that you would pull up on your phone, and the medic would scan your phone, and that would bring you back.
Yeah.
Or you would, excuse me, I have it backwards. The medic would present a QR code, and you would scan the QR code.
Okay, that does seem better.
It seems a little fucking complicated, to be honest.
Yeah.
Tedious.
Yeah.
The biggest thing was it just made it a pain in the ass to do buddy aid stuff. It made it a pain in the ass to get medics back in, because like sometimes when it's glare, your phone doesn't want to scan a QR code from another phone.
Nice. Excellent.
So it's one of those things where it's a great idea on paper, but it's so at the mercy of data, and it's so at the mercy of environmental conditions. And like someone, Lady Potatoes in the chat right now is talking about the whole problem is having to pull out your phone and BBs are being flung. That really isn't as big of a problem as a lot of people think. That is one concern with the app and the phone thing that I think is super overblown from people who haven't done it. Actually pulling out your phone in the middle of an airsoft game is really not that big a deal. As long as you're using it for medic or capture purposes when you're in such a position that you should be doing that. Like, you don't want to be getting medicked while your medic is taking fire. You don't want to be capturing a point while you're out in the open and you don't own that point.
Yeah, exactly. Or like Echo Chambers said, when you're trying to get your fat ass behind cover and you can't figure out which goddamn pocket it's in. Because if I have a pair of pants with more than 4 pockets, I'm like, what fucking pocket?
I always keep it
did
in
I put
my
my
carrier.
wallet, phone, and or any another number of other implements? Did I put that in? What pocket is it in? So
Front right pocket every time.
Access admin pocket for a cell phone is absolutely a necessity.
You got to get the Juggernaut flip down, the $300 phone case.
So the SNS Precision actually makes the flip light, which is sort of universal, and it's like $70. So it looks really, really nice. FMA, which is one of those airsoft companies that makes like bump helmets and shit, actually makes like Juggernaut impact
and all those
style
fucking
cases.
20 milliwatt IR lasers.
Oh yes, they make those too, but they make
eyes.
They make a Juggernaut case which looks like it would do the job fine to me for iPhones, even though iPhones have no functional use except for BFT, because they don't have iTac or ATAC. I'm not gonna get into it, but I really want one for my goddamn Samsung phones. Because it's like $28.
Here's Ian going on a rant again.
Dude, I'm gonna get so don't get me started. I'm gonna get
I
furious.
want to get back a little bit to the problems that Kaylee was talking about with the sign up, because the sign up I think almost is like a bigger issue than anything you have with the app.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds weird, because you get to choose. When I signed up, I think I booked DFE like 3 months in advance, right? If it was July, it was probably April when I signed up. All I said was, hey, I'm with the Gun Gamers or whatever. I choose this team, right? I asked her, I said, hey, Eric, what color are we? And then I just chose the team from there. Like, it's going to be hard to balance it when the person who's paying for the event gets to choose what team they're on.
You missed it. We were talking about it before. That's the issue.
So basically what happened was that both sides were open at one time, and then I suppose a bunch of people signed up for ERT, initially way more than TSS. So I don't know who thought of this idea or who actually implemented it, but ERT sign up was shut down, or it basically said sold out, that there were no more tickets for ERT. And I know this because I heard from several people that they couldn't sign up for ERT. And I know from a couple of our guys who tried to sign up much like a little bit closer to the event, that they weren't allowed to pick ERT at the checkout process. They figured out a little workaround to eventually sign up for ERT. I think on the initial page, you couldn't select ERT, but then when you went to some other page, there was a way to kind of cheat the system and then still sign up for ERT. But I'm assuming that when they closed ERT and said it was sold out, most people were just signing up for TSS, and they didn't understand that you could kind of get this workaround to still sign up for ERT. So TSS just eventually became stacked. And by the time that the event came around, there were significantly more people on TSS than ERT. And you could see that when you got to the event. There were just tons of people in Desert and Multicam. And I'm looking around and I'm like, okay, I feel like we're a little outnumbered.
I'm going to cite the Desert Fox Events Facebook page for this one. After ERT took the first game, someone mentioned that TSS had 45 more players. I think it was the official DFE page that said that. So TSS did have like almost 50 more players.
That's outrageous. Oh my god.
And it's pretty significant. And DFE, there's definitely a lot of players there, but there's not so many that 50 players would be an insignificant amount. I mean, that's like, 3 more massive squads of players, or even 4 more squads. So
I want to save one of the comments that you made to us about what was supposed to balance it. I want to save your comments on that for when we're about to finish talking about DFE, because I'm 100% going to go off on that subject. But needless to say, they let that ride. So I'm sorry, continue.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it would have been nice too if when they noticed that, Alphonse and Dutch and D and I forget who else was on the TSS. But there were, all these YouTubers are over there. It would have been nice because a lot of these guys I know brought kits for ERT because they weren't sure what sides they were going to be on, but they were told to go on to TSS, and it would have been nice if these people were split up a little bit so we could have a little bit more balancing, but it just didn't happen. I don't know why the balancing just didn't kind of take place later on, or whatever, but what can you do? So we made the best of it.
Let the hate flow through you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that I want to note is there have been several games that DFE has run that have been severely imbalanced. I think ERT ends up with more players at a lot of their games. So I almost wonder if they jumped the gun shutting down registration because they thought it was going to be another ERT landslide, and then it ended up being the opposite because so many people who were going to sign up then wound up all signing up for TSS.
Yeah, I think that's true because I know people who I had spoken to were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna sign up for ERT," because they had contacted me prior and asked me what side I was going to be on, and I was like, "Oh, okay, ERT, join ERT," and then the next thing I know, I'm getting messages from them maybe like a week later or something, and they're like, "Oh, I tried to sign up for ERT, but it was full, so I had to sign up for TSS. Like, I'm sorry that we won't be able to play together, but at least we'll be at the event together." And I was just like, "All right, what can you do?" I had no idea. To me, I thought ERT must be so stacked that they had to close it down, but apparently it was just this kind of strategy in order to get more people to sign up for TSS. And then I think somebody told me they did open registration for ERT maybe a week before the event or a few days before the event, but at that point it was too late. Most people had signed up. And
do they not have a limited number of slots per side?
Well, they don't really do caps. I think what they do is they tried to balance signups as they noticed a lot more people sign up for ERT. But then what ended up happening was they didn't quite strike that balance because when they cut off ERT sign up, it was too soon and more people went TSS.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, that's what is the most likely thing. I think it was kind of a move made with good intentions, but not executed in the manner that would have actually accomplished what they were going for. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt of that being good intentions, but not perfect execution.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure it wasn't something that they were trying to do on purpose. It just happened to go that way. And by the time they tried to fix it, it was too late. But they do take, you can still sign up for the event. On the day, you can show up with, 150 cash and play. There's no cap or any kind of regulation there. They're just trying to balance it sort of on the fly. I don't know. I think they should do a pre-game cap and then if people want to still come and play, they can do that too, like a pre-sale or something like that.
I'm sorry. Lady had a really good question in the chat that I think contributes to this conversation. Well, how exactly do you think they could avoid it in the future? And my best answer for that really is just have relatively lower caps maybe at sign up. And once both teams fill up, open both teams back up again. And open them up by a matter that's like not going to break the game if, one team gets more of the new open signups than the other.
Yeah.
So part of what I think the big draw for DFE events is the more casual style of gameplay. So there isn't the very regimented, like, show up at 8, sign in, 8:01, chrono, 9:01, safety brief, 9:02, this is when you talk to your CO, 9:03 is when you get your marching orders. DFE is just kind of like, hey man, show up in some jeans and like something that's kind of camouflaged, and we'll go play airsoft together. But you spend a little bit more money than you would for an open play. So it sounds like, based on what you guys are describing, and like we'll call it the oversight, the benefit of the doubt oversight they had when they were worried about the imbalance, was that some guy said, oh man, ERT is going to be stacked, we'll just shut that down, TSS is where it is, and he just forgot to check his Eno. He went on vacation that next day, and when he came back, he was like, oh my god, I've messed up, I've made a horrible mistake. Because the problem you run into is like, so if I go to an open play, I'll bring a tan and a green shirt because I know that I might need to swap sides if it's not balanced. Yeah. But it's a lot harder to do
an open play.
Yeah, and it's a lot harder to do when we come to an event where you're paying $150. I want to show off my Gucci Cry or my super high speed Slickster, or Matt from Engage Tactical, the G-Gar. Sorry, shameless plug. Right, whatever it is I have, like, I've probably spent, weeks. I'm basically a girl going to prom. I'm excited about this new dress and hair and everything. It's so much harder for me to kind of change what I'm doing.
The massive chaw that you have in as an accessory.
What you're basically saying is why it's hard to balance the day of.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm thinking like an alternate structure for ticket sales would help fix that. Because then if you buy that ticket, because that was what was available at the time, you at least know ahead of time I'm showing up for this team.
Yeah.
So because like day of balancing is definitely hard, especially at a game people are probably paying a lot of money for a kit for. But if you do a good job letting people know what to expect when they get there, then I think you can really balance that pretty well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I do like what Echo Chamber said in the chat, where he said basically like every 100, like just having like a set number where you're like, hey, sorry, we're closed. Like either tune in next week to find out what happens, or
buy your tickets for the other team so we open more tickets.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Because that'll get like squads to try to coordinate to be like, all right, we'll try to buy this batch of tickets.
Yeah,
I think that's easy, and it's not very like cost prohibitive for the vast majority of people. I'm not gonna go home crying because I can't be part of the Southern Syndicate.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely one of those airsoft players who, like, half the time I'm picking a team, it's just a flip of the coin. It's like, all right, I'll go whichever faction my buddies want to go. Oh, they don't have tickets, I'll go the other side, and we'll go that side.
It's like, well, I do have Desert Tiger Stripe, and some pores need to be flexed on, so I think we're going that side.
But yeah. So other than that, though, moving back to Battle of Los Angeles, because we didn't have the sign-up issues. So like comparing your experience with our experience is kind of useless because we had perfectly even ticket sales at Citadel Retaliation. Like I said, the only issue we had was most of the people who showed up on Tan Team were like, "Oh God, it's so hot."
Sounds like West Coast just needs to get their shit together. They're just so unorganized. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. But what else would you have to say about the latest one?
I mean, other than the balancing issues and stuff like that, I mean, it was still relatively fun. I think that last year's is a little bit better. We just had better weather overall. It was, I mean, even though it was storming, and a lot of people quit at lunchtime on the first day. I still enjoy that more. I like the cooler weather. I like that it was raining. It just makes the more experience better. This year it was probably in the 80s or so it was a little too hot, I think, for running around in full kits.
You sweet summer child.
Yeah, it's like
95, heat index over 100 on
my Lord.
Didn't you burn out?
This is California. It must be perfect weather always. Okay.
Didn't you burn out your Scorpion Evo at that event?
What?
I said, Kaylee, didn't you burn out your Scorpion Evo at that event?
Yeah, last year it rained so hard that the Scorpion just filled with water and died, burned out.
I hate when that happens.
Oh, press
So
F in
now
chat.
my $400 gun is a sweet dust collector that will never be used again.
It's a
you throw it in
club.
a bag
It's
of
a
rice,
club.
you'll be good.
Yes.
This is why I have sweet SEMA now, because it always
Yeah,
works.
You're
Exactly.
not wrong. No, I mean, it sounds like other than the balancing issue, you guys didn't have too much, and you ran into some problems that are pretty. As a non-event promoter, I can't really speak intelligently about this, but it sounds like you ran just like some common problems some event promoters have.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't so bad, and we still we had our big squad, and we still got to run together, and we had really good communication, and we stuck together the entire time, which is always like a difficult thing at Milsim. Usually, like the first person that dies, they're just gone forever, and you never see your squad again.
Yeah.
But we were able to stick together. We were able to still, attempt to push objectives and get into firefights and things. Though it
Hell yeah.
seemed like we were in the first game, since we were just pushed back to spawn the whole time. It wasn't the greatest of time because you could maybe walk 20 feet outside of spawn and then you're already engaging people again. So it was a little hectic, but the second game was a lot more fun. But the thing I wanted to bring up though that happened during the second game was the tickets. I felt like the tickets ran out earlier than expected, so the game ended really quickly. So by the time we actually got to the actual front line of the engagement and we were starting to have a good time, the game was over.
Yeah.
And we were just like, oh, okay. I guess that's that.
What field were you guys playing at? I'm sorry for cutting you off.
It was Georgia Air Force Base in Victorville.
Okay, gotcha.
So, yeah, it's like my, I don't know, 7th time being there or something since
Milsim
West goes there. And
Is it like very open, very spread out, or is it like how compact is the AO?
It's kind of in this weird middle ground where there are some wide open areas, but it's mostly a suburb or it was like a suburb for military families to stay.
So base housing, I gotcha.
Yeah, you got base housing. There's 2-story housing. There's 1-story housing. But there are open areas like big, huge quads and kind of outskirts where there's just this rocky area that you can kind of fight in, which we did get to do some of that. But then again, it's, we planned for these house-to-house fights. So most of us only had mid-range guns, and the kind of wider areas don't really help that much.
Yeah. One of the things that I remember Eric and I, we looked at each other and we had the Mr. Burns excellent. We had this mischievous idea, right? Sorry, Jet, we're about to break your game. We talked about just buying burner phones, downloading the app, scanning our code, and then just hucking it into the woods, at the objective. Be like, you can't capture this objective. There's one TSS guy here. And they're like, where is he? We don't know.
Yeah.
But I can see, right, based on how your app works and stuff like that, I could see some issues where that might crop up. One, because you had physically fewer people, right? And then we also talked about how people probably weren't using the app for the medic purpose, since you told us the 1700-0 kind of landslide victory you had there. Some of the issue might be that people just weren't using the app to even capture the point.
The biggest thing I think with what you were describing, where the game ended too quickly, I think some of that is the variable drain rate of the tickets depending on how many objectives are owned. So basically the first team that swarms the field, if they get all the objectives early and don't lose them for maybe 15 minutes, they could have bled out most of your tickets.
Yeah.
So I do think the variable drain rate doesn't necessarily work that well, which I think going back to just a time limit maybe. If you control the majority, you get a flat time drain. Maybe that would be a better system for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you're paying all this money to go out to an event, and
You don't want it to end early.
yeah, it's like if the game ends early because of ticket train, like just let it keep going. So
That
hey,
was
like,
actually
yes.
what they did at a couple of the games for Citadel Retaliation. A couple of the games ended like a little earlier than they wanted to, so they just let it play out.
Yeah, I mean that would have been nice because we were like finally really getting into it, and we were getting into a really sweet engagement where we were just kind of stuck out in the middle of all these houses, and there was just TSS all around us, and we were throwing grenades back and forth, and it was getting really hype. And then the next thing I know, I just hear people calling ceasefire and game over, and I was just like, like what time is it right now? Like, no,
Yeah.
we
But that
still
is
have
also a
another
thing
hour?
though where I do feel like a lot of this requires like immense amounts of trial and error for like setting the drain rate, whether or not the time limit works better. Like this requires so much trial and error that I almost wonder if it would be a good idea for like weekly beta tests at a field of theirs or something.
Yeah.
Because right now I think they're getting maybe 5 or 6 really good tests a year. This kind of seems like the type of system where to really fine tune it, you would want to run beta tests like 40 or 50 times to really get a good understanding of it.
They just
Yeah,
need to
probably.
collect between all the Milsim Wests and the DFEs. Josh Warren and Jet just need to take all the data from your phone the entire time. It's basically like car GPS. They just need to.
Yeah, they
Hey,
have to
when
do
you
like
sign
in
up for
Westworld,
this,
they have to make you wear a cowboy hat that records all your
Yeah.
brainwaves.
Exactly.
hey, when you sign this waiver, I know you're not going to read the terms of service, but you consent to letting us have your digital footprint. It's fine.
Exactly.
Don't worry. It's for marketing purposes.
I'm just imagining Josh Warren on a phone with the NSA, just like, so, got this crazy fucking idea. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh yeah.
Lady had a really good question in the chat. What features and elements would you like to see brought into DFE? One of the big things I want to see brought into DFE more than anything else is something that Jet and I talked about before the Blue Fox Tracker launched. I would love to see almost ARG elements to DFE where you can plant like objectives for someone to follow, and that brings them along like a sequential type of fucking mission. I think that something like that would be dope. And maybe not for every big game, but maybe for like some smaller local games or something. Maybe if you've got 50 on 50 for some reason, low signups, you could run some mission based shit.
Yeah.
I do like that, but like you said, I still think the big draw for DFE is for casual, larger games. Like for Omega, like that's what we do with the Omega app, right? It makes it super awesome when Alex or Frank puts out a quick push notification, says, "Hey, Eric just lost his thing over here. Go find it." And like it gives whoever's in the area this quick ability
like a
to
side quest,
find. Yeah, it gives me like this quick, we'll call it like a 1 hour time waster, whatever words you want to use to describe it. Like, hey, look, a cool thing I can do because I'm tired of just kind of like poking around. I just don't know if the DFE world, like whatever they're trying to, the scenario they're trying to build is conducive to that.
It might be if they had like because they don't really have personnel role players at DFE. It's all app based.
Yeah.
If they were able to incorporate some personnel role players, but I don't know how that would work. So like we're spitballing here, like what our ideas of game design are. But what they can do with the app and what's realistic, I don't know. It might be very fucking complicated.
I mean, I imagine they'd be able to push out a notification because they could tell you, like, ceasefire, blah, 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 index, all that other stuff. Like, it wouldn't be hard to just change that message to, like, Eric lost his keys again. Someone help find them.
Eric lost his bourbon. Go get it.
Oh, no. Hey, kids, don't drink an airsoft. That's not cool.
There is no drinking at Milsom West.
Oh, never. Definitely never bars or anything.
Yeah,
dude,
no.
There is no drinking at Milsom West.
There is no drinking at Milsom West.
It's not allowed.
I need to make that T-shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I would
anyway,
buy it immediately.
Shameless plug on the Teespring. I have a sticker that says "My drinking team has an airsoft problem." You should go buy that.
Yes, spend your money on it.
Yeah.
Eric makes 37 cents per shirt. It's very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Teespring is very generous with their profit margins.
Best.
I'm sorry.
Three
I feel like
MSWs,
we got
3
a
drinks,
little
I
off
believe.
We digressed, however. No, I think that what we were talking about, this kind of side mission thing, may or may not be conducive to what Jet's doing. Maybe if he tried to cultivate the story a little bit more, it might be better. But for the most part, you just kind of have this very loose frame. They're like, hey, he's red, you're blue. You don't like him, and he doesn't like you. Fight.
That rhymed.
That's how you know it's true.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, but you were saying other than like the balancing issues, though, it wasn't like there wasn't anything like really shitty.
No, I mean, other than like the personal things, like
Normal
I
airsoft shit.
I brought like a ton of tag-ins and my tag-in launcher and all this stuff, and I was ready to just like go vehicle hunting, and then there was only the one vehicle on our side, so all my munitions were useless at that point, other than just trying to shoot at people with it. But yeah, I mean, you know, the typical airsoft nonsense that can happen. But yeah, it's not like there was some kind of game-breaking thing that happened that just like ruined the whole experience. But I don't know.
The things you'd like to see improved.
Yeah, there's definitely
That's
things.
valid. Like, fuck it. You might as well say what can be improved so that they can improve it and make it, better next time.
Yeah. I think like the medic system, either I would like to see them just adopt the Milsim West medic system. Like you have your tourniquet and then you have your medic waters, and then it's easy and you can like stay in the game much longer. There's less like worrying about going back to respawn, and
also keeps people hydrated when it's hot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Smart.
Hydration. People have to physically carry the waters, which makes the medic role a little bit more taxing, or important for people to like be carrying all these waters. I like that, and that was kind of like an issue because I know during the second game, the whole tourniquet system just got screwed up, and I noticed that people were just like reviving people with 10-second counts and stuff, and because not everyone just happens to carry a Milsim West tourniquet. I just happen to have mine because I
have like 6.
Yeah, I put it on my kit for like aesthetic purposes because I had the tourniquet slot on my dangler, so I was like, oh, I'll just put my Milsim West tourniquet in here, not thinking I was going to need it. But then when we got to the game, I was, informed like, hey, they're going to allow Buddy Aid and they're going to allow the Milsim West tourniquets. So I just was like, oh, okay, thankfully I have this. But not everyone had it. And then you had Milsim West tourniquets coming out. You had bandages coming out. Then the people just rezzing you with 10-second counts. And I was like, okay, this is getting like kind of insane. But I mean, what can you do? Like the whole medic system was just kind of discombobulated. So they definitely need to work on that. They need to either, I don't know what they can do with the app to make it better, like to make people actually use it, or the dead, the hit, the wounded system. It's just, I don't know. Personally, I don't like taking my phone out and having to rely on technology during an airsoft game. I'd rather just be like flags, like physical flags that you have to raise and lower to capture points, and maybe they can just have like 3 refs on the field that keep track of the time and relay that information to each other, so you can know who has the most accumulated time on a point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like simple systems. I don't like all the complicated technology systems, but
I think maybe, like you were alluding to, I think maybe he got wrapped around the axle. He got very excited about the ability to do so many things with the app. He tried to make it what's the word I'm looking for? The phrase. Kind of like a catch-all. He's like, oh no, you can do objectives, you can do time, you can do medics, you can do deaths, you can do like point tracking. Like in reality, if you just chose one or the other, it might be a lot more simple. And then we can go back to what you were talking about, where we have the Milsim West style game or the Milsim West style system where I can just, hey, Eric, if you don't have your tourniquet, sorry, sucks to suck, bro. Should have packed more appropriately. Like it allows you to keep the game going, and then you avoid it's me just patting Ian for 10 seconds. Like, no, it's fine.
That actually isn't in the rules, the 10-second or 30-second hold. People were trying to do that at Citadel Retaliation, and I looked at them like, that's not how that works. You need to go back to spawn, or you need to serve your bleed out. But there are people who play very fast and loose with the rules at DFE. I think because it's a more casual event and it draws a more casual crowd, a lot of people don't read the fucking rule set. God damn it, a lot of people don't read the fucking rule set.
No, put down
And
the
then
M60.
people end up just like letting that shit fly.
What's reading? What's that? I think Sackloff said it best. I don't read. I have someone do it for me. You know?
Where's the cliff notes for these rules?
Yeah, is there a DFE rules for dummies? Is there a Milsim West tax op abridged?
Where's the reader? The spark notes.
Yeah.
Sven said, "Do I think the cost of the event? Do I get my money's worth?" I don't know. It really depends on what you want to get out of an airsoft like event. I think it's it's not as expensive as a Milsim West, though. I feel like I get more out of a Milsim West experience and time wise and like lore and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
DFE is still fun. It's still a huge game. You're at a unique kind of location that is not your typical walk-on field. You get to play it at the Victorville location, which is definitely a cool place to be. You can bust open buildings, like bust through walls, go through windows, a lot of things that you can't typically do at a walk-on field. So,
Hell yeah.
I think the $150 price is worth it, I suppose.
But you
don't
still
know.
think you think it could be better
Yeah.
with a little effort. So like,
Yeah.
I think there are improvements. Maybe the price is, I think, maybe a slightly high for what you're getting. But I think if they just made a few improvements to the system, the app itself, the gameplay structure, maybe like you said, Eric, add some missions or some little extra things that you could do if you wanted to or not. Like you could opt into. You could even probably opt into them through the app. Like a
Yeah.
notification comes up, you have the mission.
that was
and you
exactly
can
what
be
I was
like,
thinking of.
yeah,
Like
and
you
you
can
could be
almost
like,
assign
I'm in.
squads missions with notifications.
Right, because they sort of had that going on. Ronan from GMR was like basically he was being a good general. Like he was assigning different teams to do different things and go to different locations, which I thought was good. But it would have been cool if there were some kinds of side missions to do. So yeah, just a little kind of tweaks here and there, some improvements, and I think that it would be more worth the asking price.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Yeah.
Was Ronan? I'm sorry. Side question, unrelated to anything. Was Ronan ERT or TSS?
He was
ERT.
the ERT general.
Oh,
Yeah.
whew. Oh! I didn't realize he was a national entity.
Yeah.
I thought we were just blessed, to have him join us, Eric.
I mean, we were blessed by sweet toe shoes and day noodles, so
I only say that because I'm vehemently TSS to the day I die.
Well, only because TSS lets us run Desert Tiger Stripe.
Oh,
Or
of course.
whatever team Eric's on. That's why.
Well, it'll probably be TSS for the conceivable future, just because, like, despite the fact they won Battle for Los Angeles this year, I feel like other than that, TSS is usually the underdog.
Mm.
They're usually either outnumbered or like out fucking something, and they usually lose. And I'm kind of attracted to that. I'm kind of like, I want to be the motherfucker and make them win.
Eric thinks he can change that man. He's just trying to rebuild it.
Yeah,
But no,
we have the technology. We can rebuild it.
we
I
just
still
need
think
to
there's
get.
no better. There's still no better quote than "Hi, I'm Eric. I'm an alcoholic. I'm also your commander."
Also your commander. Yeah, that was me at Citadel Retaliation.
Oh, that was classy. What we need, Eric, we'll just get we'll buy a helicopter. Quick, make more YouTube content because we need to buy a helicopter, and then we need to design, build, 2 Mark 19s that just fire tag-ins relentlessly, and then we'll be fine.
Yeah. No, what I'm really hoping I get invited back to do the CO thing this year. I'm hoping I didn't do a terrible job and piss them off. So if I do that, what I'm going to try to do is do more pre-event preparation and try to compete better with ERT this year at Citadel Retaliation, because the Citadel games, 2 out of the 3 years, ERT has taken it because it's all the Northeastern GMR crew comes down, and really people say what they want about GMR, but you will never convince me they're not profoundly fucking coordinated in everything that they do. And it is a real advantage.
Like, it turns out when you practice the things you're going to do instead of just showing up as a weekend warrior, right? Like, mad props. They practice how they play how they practice. Like, they do great things because they're prepared. That's all it is.
There are levels of weaponized autism that come out of that I don't see in actual members of the military. It's truly phenomenal. I'm flabbergasted at the levels of coordination. And I'm a little jealous, but I'm also like, all right.
It's like a
cool.
frightened half chub.
Yeah.
The fear boner. That's what we're talking about here. The fear boner.
She's like, I'm disgusted, but strangely aroused. Okay, let's go.
That's gonna be like the fucking new meme quote. It's a frightened half chub e-house on GMR 2020.
That's.
I like it.
Alrighty, I'll be associated with that quote. But yeah, regarding the fact that you want to take TSS and make it into some sort of underdog powerhouse, I'm excited to see how that turns out, Eric.
Well, it turned out with a close, tough-fought loss last year. So here's hoping I can go that next step over and get a close, tough-fought win. Oh. But it was it was a real fun game last year. I have super biased thoughts on Desert Fox events because I think the app is so fucking cool, and so much of me going to DFE is just going to like hang out with the dudes.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, that's the thing. I've never, like, really... maybe I've got rose-colored glasses. Like, even when things have not gone my fucking way at DFE, like the first one, TSS, was outnumbered and outpositioned by by ERT. But even despite the fact that I knew I was, like, doomed, I was having such a good fucking time with my bros that I didn't give a shit. And then I go, and even though I'm commanding at Citadel Retaliation, I took it more seriously. It was like an even number of signups. Theoretically, it was really well balanced, but like it didn't go well. But I still didn't give a shit because like after the games ended, I was going back to my campsite to have brews with the dudes. Like I don't know. I feel like I have such a hard time really envisioning like weaknesses of the execution. But then like hearing you talk about Battle for Los Angeles, it's really like forcing me to be like, all right, well maybe this is a problem. But then like how can not only the event promoter obviously can fix a lot of these, but we as players, or me if I do command again, how can we help offset some of these problems? Yeah. Because I'm a firm believer in like doing what you can as a player to offset any problems, just so that it makes it that much easier for the event promoter to solve the problem.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Like, probably the best part of the entire weekend was just like off the field, going back to the cars. We had a big group. We had like tailgating basically going on. We were cooking up like hot dogs and burgers, and there were definitely good hangs. Like that was the redeeming part of the entire event. Is every time we stepped off the field, we were just having super good hangs, good laughs. Like everything was going well on that part. So that did offset the fact that every time we stepped onto the field, we were having issues, but I mean, it wasn't like some massive failure. You know, we were still having a good time. We were still having the good hangs with the homies, and I think as long as that's happening, you can't really complain too much because airsoft is basically just an excuse to get together with your buddies and have a good time. So I think that was like the good part about it. But yeah, you know. Maybe for future events they can improve certain things, like you were saying.
Yeah, but like telling them what the problems were and then offering solutions to fix it, I think is a good thing to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
No one likes problems. People only like solutions.
Yeah.
But
people take the sting of a problem much better if it's delivered with the promise of a solution.
Exactly.
It's very true. Like Haley was alluding to, I'm sorry I had to walk out for a moment. But my favorite thing about DFE wasn't the gameplay. It wasn't because I could flex my kit. It wasn't because I was doing anything, related to airsoft. and it was just because I had the ability to hang out with a bunch of dudes that like I'm relatively familiar with, and cook hot dogs, drink some adult beverages. Sorry if there are kids in the room, I forgot, but just hang out and have fun. Like Haley said, this we have this excuse. So like, what are you doing, Matt? I'm gonna go play airsoft this weekend, and people have this illusion that I'm gonna go off dressed up and play soldier. When in reality, it's me sitting in short shorts and tidy whities on Nathan DiSerono's little like minivan couch, drinking a beer. You know what I mean?
You just demolished his last name,
Yeah.
but all right, yeah.
DiSerono, yeah, it's on the
I like
rocks.
that better. I'm gonna change that name. I'm gonna change that to his name in the
Well,
chat.
in the words of the great tall guy Alex, there's no better way of hanging with the bros than heeing haws and drinking claws. Like that's
Hell fucking yeah.
You need to be careful. I just saw a follow-on post on Facebook. Sorry for again sidetracking everything. Claw and Order. They're trying to bring in this new movement.
okay.
Law and Order, in case you didn't pick up on that, with Ice-T.
Yes, I got it. With Ice-T, I got you. So will we be drinking Ice-T?
No. The character Ice-T.
Ah, I
Where,
see.
Where
I
he
see.
is confused about the concept of every episode. Where
Wonderful.
you have to explain to him what murder, pedophilia, gluttony, any of these things are. Ice-T. We're breaking it down for third graders.
Wonderful. Excellent. Okay.
But is $150 a little pricey to hang out with your friends? Probably. However, that is I think we can all. That's me speaking for people. I think the major draw of what it is we do is to do it with people, not to go stomp some kids to flex on some pores and play airsoft. That's not.
Dominate the noobs.
Yeah, I mean, I won't lie. This cup is filled with poor tears. That's the only thing I drink. However,
listen, there's nothing better than truly flexing on the pores, especially during night games when you and your boarders have a nice car's worth of nods and thermals and IR lasers. But
I think the ultimate flex is when you get people who have a nice car's worth of nods on their head and still fucking lose to you in a firefight when you've got your
boarder.
bullshit rebuilt PVS 14 that fell off a truck in 2003.
Here's Eric with an oddly specific flex, passive-aggressive flex on GMR, the night game.
No. This isn't even GMR. No, GMR fucking shreked me at the night game at DFE. We just held the majority of objectives long enough. This is Battle at the Depot reference.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I try not to make those references as often as possible because fuck remembering that game. But but there was one incident in the night where I basically shat on some dual tube kitties so fucking hard that they accused me of cheating, and it was pretty great. Motherfuckers walk in the middle of the road all careless, not checking their fucking corners because they think they win because they have dual tubes. Meanwhile, here I am with this fucking budget-ass PVS 14, not even goddamn auto-gated, with Garrett, who's got fucking Gen 2 PVS 5s, one tube worth, and we fucking shat on those guys, and they got super mad at us, and it was great.
That's Seg's map, by the way. Yeah. See, I would love to have something like that to talk about. Unfortunately, I haven't had the opportunity to field my nods yet, which is real big sad, because I've just been sitting lonely in my room with my nods on, fucking around with my IR laser and my tracer, just been like, wow, this would be real neat if I had a place to use it,
Well, that just tells me you need to
February
get out.
22nd, Rochester Airsoft Op, so we could just fucking shitball.
Yeah, I do want to shitball there, but I'm terrified of getting my nods stolen, considering where in
Don't
the
bring
city
your
it is.
nods. Just fucking come shitball.
But that's all Ian wants to do. He wants to flex. His muscles are tired. He needs to flex.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
My muscles are supple and need to flex.
Ian, I think the GZA open play is going to be your move.
Excellent, wonderful. Break out
And
the
if
blue
not-
tiger stripe.
Fucking hee-haw is gonna be. We need to get Kaylee in for a hee-haw. Hee-haw
Kaylee,
is exactly what fucking airsoft is built for.
Yeah.
Kaylee, you need to figure out how to get to the East Coast. We'll put you up between me, Eric, Ian, all the other people. We have a bunch of houses in the Northeast.
Yes.
Just come hang
I will
out.
fucking crowdfund your Airbnb.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Just-
We have literally probably a battalion's worth of just random piece of shit guns laying around if you can't bring your AK. So
Yeah,
you're
even
probably
if
gonna
you
end
don't
up with one out of the 5 crinks that we have,
I
or
have like
somebody
6
belt fed.
AKs myself, so just let us know. You want gas blowback? You want HPA? You want AEG? I'll get you a Springer if you want it. Like it'll be just fine. Pinky swear. All you gotta do is bring your body out this way.
And the hee-haw is perfect because it's where we go to fields where we have no responsibility and we just shitball their games and drink White Claw on the staging area. I mean, we drink carbonated seltzer in the staging area.
I was
Definitely
No
not
drinking in
alcoholic.
airsoft.
You've now been banned from Z24.
I was politely asked to stop throwing grenades the last time we went to airsoft. They said, "Excuse me, sir, we seem to have a problem here. You're throwing too many grenades." Fabulous quote. Unnamed fellow in the woods. How many of those does that guy have? after I had thrown 6 or 8 tag 67s, like doesn't matter. Oh, here's another one.
I have a similar experience where I was at RCA for one of Eric's events, and I had gotten just like a crisp
just got
hundo.
your first big paycheck, and you bought 15 fucking EG67.
Well, actually, I got 18.
Sick fuck.
I got
Oh,
18.
sorry.
Come on.
Well, no, so I actually got 18 and a dump pouch to carry them all in because I had nowhere near enough storage to carry all of them, and I had to throw some in Corey's backpack. But the fun part about it was, I believe someone was quoted as saying, "Well, he's following the George W. Bush standard of playing airsoft. Just throw more money at the problem, and eventually it'll explode."
Oh, yeah, see, I like this idea. I
Yeah.
just bought freaking 2 crates of EG, so I got like 50 grenades now,
Oh,
and I'm ready to
That's
hee
way
some
too.
haws.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sad but
Here, yo,
excited.
yeet.
If it's not a tag, I don't really want to play with it. Maybe this is just my personal preference. The 67s just don't have any oomph.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm on training wheels when I throw the grenade.
Yeah.
Well,
I
I mean,
can throw a tag 67 about as well as I can throw anything in my dreams.
Yes.
Why can't I punch in my dreams?
I don't know. The tag 67, it has some weight to it, so you can actually like send it. I remember, although I will say, at the same Zulu game we were talking about, I threw 5 tags and 1 EG67. The tags like rolled around, and I managed.
sweet.
Hey!
I managed to get the EG67 through the window of the house, whatever I was trying to throw the thing into. Because I remember the ref just like basically shit talking me the entire time. He's like, "Close but no cigar." Oh, swing and a miss. Just basically like this shitty baseball like fucking like announcer, and then all of a sudden it just like rolled in the way. It's like, "He's on fire," and I felt great like when I was doing it, but in reality, I threw like $60 that random guy to make sure that he died once in make believe.
Yeah. The
It's
Global
they're like
War on Terror
$12
style.
a piece or something.
Yeah.
Dude, airsoft is pay to win. Fucking get with it, scrubs.
It's the
That's
only
right.
way to fill this cup of tears. It's
Exactly.
to flex on kids like that.
So, someone in the chat echo chamber wants to hear that wild rant I
Ooh.
promised.
Is this about Sato?
No, it's about technicals.
Oh, dear.
Oh,
Oh
So,
yeah,
yes, about Sato.
Yeah. So, yeah, the wild rant I promised is about technicals in airsoft and why everyone thinks they're cool, but they're actually really fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Technicals in airsoft are the dumbest fucking thing since ever. The fact that people think technicals are a good idea makes me seriously question the intelligence of the human race. Because when we apply airsoft rule logic to personally operated technicals, number one, I don't trust any of you motherfuckers to operate a vehicle on property that I'm responsible for if I was the event promoter. Number two, I have yet to have anyone in a vehicle call a fucking hit.
Yeah. So,
Am I
agree with these
wrong?
things.
no, you're not wrong. And if you look at like just the standard training when it comes to vehicles, the second that you like, because everyone's assuming, all right, so I'm gonna be in the vehicle, right, and I'm gonna have this minigun, and I'm just gonna be tearing apart legions of people. But in reality, what happens is you take a tag round, or in the real world, a fucking RPG, and the standard procedure is get the fuck out and leave that massive hulk of thousands of dollars that you spent on a vehicle for airsoft, and you run away. You run away real fast. And unfortunately, well, you can't mow people down in that fucking vehicle anymore. Otherwise, you all die. You all got to respawn. And in an ideal world, you've got like an hour respawn. But in certain events that we have been to, it's like, all right, you're gonna do a quick little lap and just haul ass straight back out. You're gonna get there. You're not gonna call any hits. You're gonna surround the motherfucking turret with plexiglass so your gunner can't be shot out, but he can shoot people. Just, I'm still very salty about the fucking Pope Mobile Demsato. I'm still very salty about that goddamn vehicle.
Don't hate the player, hate the game, Ian.
No, I hate the players. I hate the players so much.
No, you're not allowed to. That's why the saying is hate the game.
Yeah. It's infuriating, man.
I mean,
but back on any sort of topic that we were at one point on, because I think it just kind of went on about DFE. I mean, we can get to answering people's questions or going on long-winded rants again. This is all fine with me. We can talk about mods.
Hey,
dude,
AMA.
I will fucking ramble about anything. Are you fucking kidding me?
No, I know.
We'll figure it out. AMA, boys and girls. Sorry, it's 2020.
It's a new army.
For the reality, 2020 is the year of the cyberbully. Sorry if you don't agree with me.
Oh shit, year of Josh Warren. I got you.
Josh Ward is the best cyberbully though. I love his fucking shit posting. It's great. I'm an unapologetic Josh Warren shit posting fanboy. When he shit posts in gear classifies, it makes my fucking day.
It's me, but with Michael Jackson blackface eating popcorn, just like I just want to watch, you know.
And watching people overreact to his shit posting is really the best part.
Just the fury of not only the other people and the other event promoters. Like, why is this happening?
It's really just the catwalks. That's how I know.
Every time Bubba Moore startles, a fucking angel gets its wings.
Oh, okay.
Or stutters. Excuse me, that was the word I was looking for.
Same, but different. But same.
Every time I fuck up a word, an angel gets its wings. So we're at probably 1,500 today.
Yeah. I was like, whoa. Every time I take a drink. Whoa. Whoa. Good on them.
When it comes to the night portion of DFE, how exactly does it work? Is it just a standard night game, or the actual objectives that you have to take, or how does it work? I'm unaware.
I couldn't tell you. I wasn't there. I may or may not have been.
The night game at DFE, it's the same as the day game, but it's at night. So the idea is whatever team can more effectively control territory in low light wins.
So whatever team has more nods wins.
But that was the thing.
You would think that. So at Citadel Retaliation, TSS had less nods than ERT, I would say. But the thing is, the night game started early enough that it wasn't truly dark until like 9 or 9:30. But by then the game was over because there were 3 objectives on the field and TSS controlled 2 of them for like an hour.
Okay.
So what ended up happening is by the time it was dark, the game was over. So the fact that GMR, ERT had more nods didn't matter because they had sat in the castle like consolidating their forces to go run these 2 ambushes, or not ambushes, these 2 attacks on the flanking objectives. But by the time they got those attacks going, the game was over.
Yeah.
They played like a war of attrition, and Eric was able to win simply because he divided the forces and like spread it out. EMR was expected, or it's not EMR, GMR. Sorry, ERT, GMR,
or whoever.
Whatever. Ronan and his boys. They were expecting like a big. They were expecting a fist fight at the castle. And in reality, I was like, "This is dumb. Why don't we just take 2 out of 3 and just win?"
Actually never wanted to control the castle for the entirety of that fucking game. I did kind of let Greg and Jet like run the team at points where I kind of really wanted to do my thing and what I had the idea of the strategy, but they wanted to do their thing. I really let them like take platoons to go do shit like that. But my idea for that game was fuck the castle. The castle is a fucking death trap.
It's completely undefendable, yeah.
Eric was the goddamn CEO. You should have just flexed up, just did one of these like, and just, like, told them.
My style of leadership is very collaborative. I don't want to fucking shit on people. Like, it's not my. If I'm going to a game either for free or being compensated for being there, I feel like my job is to make sure everyone's having a good time. Barking people to obey my fucking orders is not a good time for anybody. So I just kind of I did allow some fucking flexibility, but really what I wanted to do was say fuck the castle for the entirety of that game. Because the castle is a death trap. Holding it means consolidating your forces there, whereas attacking it means consolidating your forces on attacking it. So really it's just a resource drain. I wanted to take the objectives around the castle and say fuck the castle.
Well, where was Eric when I killed myself with a tag and fate, trying to fight for the castle? Ugh, I wish you had saved me.
The first game we tried to take the castle, and that was the game I realized fuck the castle. Yeah. So then for the rest of it, I really wanted to not focus on the castle because I didn't think it was a necessary objective. I thought it was just a resource drain.
Yeah,
you weren't wrong.
I mean, when you're charging into fucking a machine gun nest in an elevated position with just a mass of bodies, it's generally not going to go well. And from my experience at EMR, the castle is a goddamn death trap because everybody there's so many people with machine guns.
This is the central point. Everyone wants to fight.
All right, Obi-Wan.
Also, like, straight up acknowledging one of the things GMR is good at. Why the fuck do you want to willingly enter a CQB battle with GMR?
You don't.
No, nobody wants to fucking do that. Why are you, like, as the one person who knows what you're gonna do, want to fucking go with 4 or 5 randos against a fucking 10-piece of people who have trained the same fucking system for a year? You're gonna fucking lose.
Doesn't work out.
Yeah.
I think
you might as well bring them into the woods where the weaknesses of their system expose themselves. Like, just bring them into the fucking woods if you can and fight them there. But fuck fighting in a building with that.
Yeah.
Dude, I will say those Zulu boys we slugged it out with on Sunday, they definitely knew what they were doing for more open area engagements.
Oh, I'm not saying they don't know what they're doing as a rule.
Oh, no, those were
generally the system focuses a lot on urban and CQB.
You mean Cole? Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
No. The Zulu guys weren't GMR. I think they had 1 or 2 in with them, but
I don't know if they were actually GMR members or if they're just because GMR obviously has their tribes and their fucking following nationwide. So that was the thing though. Like, some of them really do know what they're fucking doing. I'm not making a general rule here. I'm just saying a lot of them train the CQB aspects of Cole because that's what they can realistically train. Whereas then you get out into the woods and you've got more flexibility on your side and more flexibility on their side, but they might still try to stick to their system, which makes it less flexible. So then you can kind of play to your advantages a little bit more. But it's all just about understanding what system your enemy is running and maybe what its strengths and weaknesses are. And I came to the conclusion pretty quickly that CQB was not going to be a strength of Southern Syndicate at Citadel Retaliation and that we should stick to the woods.
Yeah. Well, or we all buy MP5 and then gear them out and then just run it up.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's probably the move.
I mean, okay, fair enough. That's a good move.
As a lifelong, longest time
life rule, H&K makes it better.
Yeah, it does. Well, I mean, as a lifelong subscriber to the Superior Firepower Doctrine, my personal recommendation is just set up an L-shaped ambush, only bring machine guns, and really, if you can just spray all of your ammo in just one general direction, you're gonna fucking hit something eventually.
You fools. You just call an air support. I don't even know why you're trying. This is basically the equivalent of me paying someone to do something versus me doing it myself. I'll just call an air support. Yeah. Hey, put 16 JDAMs down that away.
Yeah, exactly.
But then
unfortunately, we don't have
fun.
You would have a lot of just fucking random body parts strewn across the field, and no one likes that.
Dude, once the tag mortar comes out, we'll be good.
Oh, I'm so excited for the tag mortar. It's going to be so goddamn dumb, especially with any sort of integration of tag.
It's only you that's excited.
Well, me and Garrett are excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about it to a great extent. I remember I was driving back from Connecticut talking to you guys about it.
Yes. You seem to have a very good time.
I am just so goddamn excited for Connecticut in 3 weeks.
Ugh. Yes.
Are you confirmed to be on for the Acacia Strain show or not yet?
I will personally and professionally, I will tell you that the Acacia Strain show is not at the top of my list. Not
No, that's fair. But Saturday.
Whatever day we're doing the dinner cigar bar.
That's Saturday.
Okay, so Saturday. Quiet, Ian. I was born in the darkness. You merely adopted it. I'm very excited for Saturday and Sunday. Right, the pre-ha and then the actual hee-haw. Those are very exciting for me. I cannot wait. However, I would not be opposed to going to see the Acacia Strain, if just to, observe from a distance Eric in the pit. I need to see what kind of joints you have. I understand they're made of glass and fine china. However, I would be excited to see what the rest of you presents.
Just broken bodies strewn across the
pit. I will allow myself that type of humble brag.
Eric, you're 6'3" and 270. I can understand where this humble brag would come from. It's not like Kaylee's just like, all right, I'm going to the pit. I'm gonna be fucking karate chopping everybody. Like, no, Eric, you're just you're a refrigerator. Like, let's be honest here.
Yeah, I spent all of Signs of the Swarm set in the pit this last weekend, and it was fucking awesome. Hartford, Connecticut, you motherfuckers know how to get down. I was so happy.
The same set that Joe threw up in. Let's not forget that.
Joe did throw up in the pit. That did happen.
Oh, Jesus. Should I bring my Team Wendy to the pit to make sure?
He threw up in a garbage can after exhausting himself in the pit.
Excellent.
We still need to belittle Joe. That's what's important. We need to knock his ego down.
Excellent. Should I bring my Team Wendy into the pit to make sure I don't get a goddamn concussion?
Seems like the safest way to do it.
Why not? Bad idea, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, we're kind of running out of topics at this point, so...
Are we? I don't think we are, Ian. I think you're just a little bitch.
Well,
you're not my real dad. No one
I'm not my supervisor. You can't tell me what to do.
I have a flight at 5:30 tomorrow morning, which I got to be up at 3 o'clock for, so... Yeah.
Sounds like you should have planned appropriately. This is your fault. No one asked
shut up, motherfucker. No one gives a fuck about you.
Ian, you sign off. We're just continuing to shitpost this goddamn video.
Yeah. Here's my fucking question for y'all today. My question for y'all is, what have you seen about this Taran Tactical shit? Y'all motherfuckers would pay attention to this, because holy fuck.
Shit.
Kaylee, you gotta tell me, have you seen this shit with Taran Tactical?
I mean, I saw I think the original video or whatever that then has now resurfaced. And when I first saw it, I wasn't quite sure what was going on because I don't super keep up on Taran Tactical or, what the hell that they're doing all the time. But I did see the video and I was like one of my friends just posted it with no real kind of explanation of what was going on. And I was just like, what the hell is this? Like, why is this cameraman filming this girl and being really gross and lewd and stuff? But I mean, I don't know. For me, I just see straight people doing straight things, and I don't I don't really chalk it up to too much because I'm like, that's just how dudes talk to their girlfriends or whatever, and that's normal.
This is the fucked up thing. If you actually know the full concept, that is not his girlfriend. That is his employee.
Now it makes more sense. It really screwed up.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Taran Butler is apparently the fucking Harvey Weinstein of gun people. Holy fuck, I cannot speak right now. But this dude has apparently, according to a new post from Jade, who didn't really address this for a couple weeks, according to a new post from her, he did this to a lot of the girls who worked for him, and he would make them try to show him their body and show more of themselves than they were comfortable with, during video and shit. And he would just take video of himself trying to do this to these fucking girls. And it was fucked up. And it was not something they were okay with. They were not in a relationship or something. And now these videos are leaking and showing what a creepy motherfucker Taran Butler is. And
I think that
holy fuck.
I think that the in-range response is just fucking hilarious. Where
my God.
It's Carl at SHOT Show. He's looking at a bomb suit. He's like, perfect. This is our anti-sexual assault protecting the precious suit. So
yeah. Well, he had a really good line. He said, this will help if you need to put up with things that nobody in the fucking shooting industry should ever put up with.
Yeah, exactly. It's It's kind of outrageous to see that. Well, I guess you're gonna start seeing fucking Wilson combat guns in John Wick from now on. So
Yes.
yeah.
A
Yes.
fucking improvement as far as I'm concerned. I love Wilson Combat.
Kimber or die. Don't talk to me.
Don't you fucking dare compliment Kimber.
Don't you sully the name of Wilson Combat by associating with Kimber?
You know me. No, obviously I'm not. Yeah, you know me. I'm a Sig fanboy from beginning to
Sig
end.
is fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I mean,
You're not wrong. I chose a good company to throw my weight behind. All 1.7 ounces. You know, like I've got nothing. I'm nobody. But no. To talk politically, and I feel like I have to talk politically about this because of the nature of the conversation. Terry made a mistake, and he's
or a series of mistakes. With
I was gonna say, pardon my French, those of you who's watching. He's a fucking chode. He's a bad person, and he did bad, so he should be punished. There is no question in my mind about the outcome of the case and what should befall him. However, to remain politically correct, it is unfortunate that it happened to Jade, and I hope in the future that these issues can be rectified and that they do not happen to other people in the industry.
Yeah.
However, I hope Butler Taran dies in a fire and
so fuck that guy.
You know, that guy.
So sympathy for his victims, but no sympathy for him. That's pretty fair, I'd say.
Just coming from like a purely just like strategic, not even strategic, just an intelligence-based standpoint. Why the fuck would you videotape yourself doing incriminating shit? It's like, dude, like it's terrible that you're doing this shit, and it's awful, and you shouldn't be doing this.
But
why
it's also
in the flying fuck
that you're
would
recording
you
it?
videotape
Some kind
this?
of sick fantasy, I would imagine.
Hey, guys.
He would probably watch it and feel better about himself.
Check out this corroborating evidence that
that shows what I did.
Don't mind me.
Well, my favorite was when Taran Butler's response to it was to say the video was taken several years ago. What does several mean? More than 3, right?
Yeah.
Jade Butler is 21 years old.
Yeah, Jade Butler is 21.
Jade Struck, excuse me. Jade, yeah.
She is 21. So,
makes it
so him saying this video was several years ago does not fucking help his case.
No, it makes it way worse.
You were sexually abusing and assaulting a woman when she was 17.
a minor.
All right,
yeah.
Chalk it up. Where's To Catch a Predator?
Yeah, exactly. As Echo Chambers said, no, I'm not a creep. I'm a pedophile.
Please show me more of your body, very underage girl.
Yes.
So Jade says it was when she had just turned 18. So maybe Taran Butler's a fucking idiot who doesn't know how English works.
Oh.
Not surprised after seeing him call... Who the fuck calls a vagina the precious? Motherfucking Smeagol-ass motherfucker. He'd be like, show me the precious.
It's just like, come on, man. What are you doing? Jesus Christ.
Ruining it for the rest of us. Jesus Christ. Just calm down.
It was just so fucking... More than anything, like, even regardless of the whole sexual harassment problem, even regardless of the fact that he's fucking in his 40s or 50s and she was 18, the worst part of that is just how desperate and fucking cringy that dude sounds, right?
Yeah.
Like, there is no situation in your mind where you hear the audio from Taran Butler and think of anything other than a fucking overweight, middle-aged piece of shit.
Hey, he's really good at shooting guns in a very controlled environment. You show him the goddamn respect he deserves, Eric.
Oh, dear.
I feel like you could set his audio to, like, some super fucked up serial killer scene and it would work perfectly, and no one would notice.
You're not wrong.
Are we sure this isn't just outtakes from the Joker movie?
That must be what it is.
Honestly, man, like, goddamn, he sounds like a fucking incel.
We're all flame spraying Butler Taran, but in reality, this was just footage used for artistic purposes. Let's all calm down.
Oh man, well, just like the last podcast, I'm I'm sure that this one isn't going to hit the YouTube channel either.
Well, the last one didn't hit the YouTube channel because you fucked up the audio and sent me a file way bigger than any free converter I could find. You sent me an FLV file. Who the fuck uses FLV?
You're not wrong.
YouTube.
I
Yeah.
have to use an online video converter and change it over to MP4 and then fucking edit it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, you piece of shit.
Ian, look in the camera.
Look
Piece
at the
of shit.
fucking camera right now. You fucked me, man. You
That's
fucked.
that's my knife hand. You piece of shit.
All right, Chief, you got it.
Export this in MP4, you fucking pleb.
I'll make sure to. I think this time we're going to be down, because I was having issues with the recording itself, so I'm going to be downloading it from Twitch and just fucking converting it to MP4 from there.
Well, figure it
If you
out.
shut this off, Ian, I will murder you.
Oh. All right.
We're trying to give the people what they want, and here you are being a censor. You're basically a communist, Ian.
All right. Well, that
All
escalated
seven people in
unbelievably
your
quickly.
Twitch stream want to hear what we have to say.
Damn. We got wrecked.
Yeah.
Wham,
Well,
wham, wham.
I have literally no
Anyway,
response to that
I don't know.
whatsoever.
Maybe we should end the stream and take this private from here on out. That
That's
way
probably-
we say all the fucked up shit no one else wants to hear.
That's
Exactly.
Right.
Well, yes, I can agree with that. If anyone wants to ask any questions, if they have anything specific that they want to ask, now's the time.
Two more questions.
Yeah.
Anything. Ask us anything. It'll be great.
Anything
AMA.
you want at all.
Let's go.
Ask me anything. Ask me my fucking social security number. I don't give a shit.
I'll give you all my bank accounts, please.
All
Ask
60
me
of you.
something.
Will Ian
Yo,
get any sleep
Ian
for his
won.
flight? It's,
No,
Probably
it's-
not.
I
No,
refuse
it
to
is
allow
fine.
him to.
Ian is fucked.
yeah, it's
One
not
more
like I have
question.
a job interview tomorrow at 10 a.m.
I'll drive to
All right.
Rochester if I have to.
A job
Doesn't matter.
interview.
Yeah.
Dude, if you
I
drove
mean-
to Rochester, I'm just gonna say, Akavio, if you drove to Rochester, it would make my fucking week.
Oh, I've got 2 more to burn, so you might as well. Or I might as well. Yeah, like what's the big deal?
Dude,
leaving your
I-
wife at
I-
home with a child and
should-
a newborn.
you should just come to Rochester this weekend on a fucking whim.
It's I can smell the smoke. It's going through his brain.
You said this weekend, the 8th and the
Yeah.
9th?
Him
Yeah,
turning.
fucking tomorrow and whatever.
What are we doing?
I don't know, man. We'll figure something out.
This seems interesting.
We could do any number of things, man. I could cook for you. We could go get fucking whiskey. We could do any. We could go eat garbage plates again.
Oh, yes. Interdasting. This seems exciting.
Well, I'm sad I'm going to DC this weekend. When will Ian's stream become a social planning stream? Or when Ian's stream becomes a social planning stream? Yeah, man. I mean, anything for the
Dude.
Joes, I suppose.
Hey, man, Jacobino, I got the fucking. I'll blow the air mattress up again. You know I'm good for it.
Oh, yeah, no, that couch was incredibly comfortable. I'm pretty sure I threw it everywhere. But that doesn't matter. That's what's important.
God, just the pure roasting of me that's going on here is just, oh God, I can feel my heart churning. Then again, I don't give a fuck. Anyway,
Hell yeah.
we have time for one more question if anybody has anything
We
specifically
haven't
related
gotten
to
another question.
Oh, I have a real question.
Shoot, man.
I don't.
Oh.
I don't have a real question.
Okay,
I know you all, so I know what the response is going to be. Like, what's the point?
yeah, just immediately go fuck yourself.
No, continue.
Yeah. I'll shove it right up my butt.
Okay,
I feel like
Wonderful.
you should ask your question anyway.
I'm not sure he had a question to begin with.
Just be shit talking people. Like, I don't really have one.
All right. Ian, why did he think that haircut was a good idea? Wow. Ouch.
Oh, the
okay.
undercut.
That's
Damn.
horrible, man.
Damn.
Fuck, man.
Ian, the undercut.
Getting personal now.
Shit,
God,
man.
just fucking keep it coming. Goddamn, just keep
Listen,
the roasts
hey,
coming.
Echo Chamber, he thought that haircut was a good idea because he looked at what happens when you don't enjoy your hair while you got it. You go
Oh,
full
God,
Eric.
don't even. As I'm thinning on the top,
Oh,
all
dude,
over.
my back of my head is fucking thin as shit. So Ian is currently doing everything in his power to enjoy the thick, luscious hair while he has it. Because come 27, that shit's gonna go away.
Oh,
No, I mean my family has a history of just having a strong hairline up until their older ages. So I'll just be flexing on you pores when you're fucking balding.
Well, you
no
know
one
what?
believes you,
Captain
Ian.
Picard and Bruce Willis made it cool to be bald, so suck
Yeah.
my dick.
You can fuck right off, Ian. We'll kick you out of this goddamn stream.
Okay,
Don't
wow,
care.
fuck. Alright. The goddamn hair pores. Anyway, I think that this stream has run its natural course of having an actual topic
Yeah,
and
I
then
think
just
we're good
devolving
here. I
into
think we
debauchery
can
and
talk this.
well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a
Sick.
phenomenal stream. I hope that we can do this
Fuck
again next Thursday, potentially getting
I love you
a
guys. You're the
surprise
fucking
guest who's a
best.
good friend of Kaylee on.
Yes.
Whoa,
Yeah, man.
hold
Cough,
on.
cough.
I know who you're
Surprise
talking
guest.
about.
I don't. Ooh, this is exciting.
I haven't seen that dude in like 2 years. I need to fucking talk to him.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm still trying to convince him, so hopefully it works out and we'll
Oh,
get him
that'd be
on
so
here.
awesome. I would fucking love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, dope.
So we can get eventually like a 15-person stream going on, which is gonna devolve into fucking debauchery. Anyway, guys, to anybody who's still watching the stream, all 6 of you, you have a wonderful night, and I will see you next
All of
Thursday.
us.
So take it
Yes.
easy, y'all. You have a good one.
Peace.